Hello, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we are going to see about functions of a election commission. In a previous video, we have seen about what is the election commission and what are all its independence functions. So, in this video, we are going to see about the administrative powers and advisory and quasi-judicial powers of a election commission of India. So, in administrative powers, the first one is that determining territorial areas. So, the election was conducted in different places. So, this territorial area was decided by the election commission based upon the report of a delimitation commission. So the delimitation commission will prepare a report and the election commission will determine the territorial area of a particular state or for a entire country in case of a election of a parliament. Next one is revising the electoral rolls. So what is the electoral rolls is that a particular what are all the number of voters. Okay, it was a list of voters. Electoral rolls nothing but a list of voters who is going to vote for a particular election. So the list of voters keep on changing. Why? Because on some particular year, if a person was 17 years old, next year he will be 18 years old who is eligible for a voting of a election. So these electoral rolls was continuously revised based upon the new voters, okay, who is attaining 18 years old. So these electoral rolls was revised continuously revised by a election commission. Okay, so it keeps on changing. Why? Because new voters, first time voters will enter into the electoral rolls who attain the 18 years of age. Next one is scrutinizing nomination papers. So nomination papers need to be submitted by the candidates for a election. So the election commission will scrutinize, will analyze the nomination paper and scrutinize it. So everything was, it will check everything was correct, everything was correctly mentioned in a nomination paper by a candidate. So everything was checked by the, will be checked by the election commission. Next one, enquiring the disputes. If any election disputes, so election disputes regarding the conduction of a election, its functions, any disputes regarding the election was solved or decided by the election commission. Determining the code of a conduct. So code of a conduct need to be followed by the every candidate, every election parties, every political parties need to follow a code of a conduct for a election. So if any violation happen, what happens is that the issue was decided. So the election commission will impose a code of a conduct, will restrict any illegal activities. It will restrict any illegal activities, illegal hate speech during the time of a election. So everything was decided by the election commission regarding the code of a conduct. It will impose rules and regulations that need to be followed by the political parties and candidates for a election. So the violation should not be done. That was overseen by the election commission. Cancelling poll due to the booth capture of violence. If any booth capturing activities, if any violence happened in any constituency or any particular booth, or if any booth was captured by the anti-social activities, anti-social persons, so it will be the election will be cancelled on that particular constituency or particular booth. That the cancelling power of the election was in the hands of election commission. Regarding staff, so the staffs, election for conducting of election, a huge number of staff was required. So the election commission will get a staff from a particular section of a government. It can ask for a staff required for the election from either a governor or a president or such other authorities. It may ask for staffs for the conducting of an election. Registering particular political party. So election commission will register the political parties, allocating a symbol for them. So election symbol will be allocated by the election commission to a particular political party, and granting status. What is the granting status? Is that national or state parties. So the election commission will granting the status of a national party or state party. So it was a status. A particular party will be given a status of a state party. A particular party will be given a status of a national party, which was based upon the poll performance, election performance of a particular political party. Voter education and the participation of a voter was important. So election commission will educate a voter regarding the participation in the election. It will educate the voter. It will give awareness to the voters for the importance of a election. So all these activities will be done by the election commission. So next one is the advisory and quasi judicial powers of a election commission. So regarding the disqualification of a it will advise, it will give advice to the advice for a disqualification of a elected, it may be a elected member of a parliament or member of a state legislature. So it will give advice to disqualify a member of a parliament or to disqualify a member of a state legislature if any illegal activities was done by them, if he was unfit according to the constitution or representation of a people act, if any particular MP or MLA will be identified by the election commission as a ineligible, he was not eligible for that post. So if it was identified by the election commission, it will advise to disqualify such a person. So there is a various points to disqualify the MP and MLA. All this will be discussed under Representation of a People Act in a further upcoming videos. So it will advise for a disqualification of a ineligible member of a parliament and member of a state legislature. Cases before the Supreme Court and High Court. So if any disputes, if any such cases was referred by the Supreme Court and High Court to the Election Commission, then it will give a advice for a disqualification. All those advice that was given by the Election Commission was binding on. So the advice that was provided by the election commission regarding any disqualification dispute that was in before the Supreme Court and High Court was binding on. This was a binding. Next, disqualify candidate. The election commission can disqualify any candidate if any submission, if he did not submit any election expenses. If any particular candidate did not submit a election expenses properly, then election commission can disqualify a candidate. And if any illegal activities was performed by such an candidate, he will disqualify. Election commission will disqualify such a candidate. Removing and reducing the period. So the removing of such a disqualification or reducing the period of a disqualification also can be decided by the election commission. Settling disputes. So election disputes between different parties or election disputes between different section of a same party can be decided by the election commission. And the recognition and symbols. So it was an important function during any particular party splits into a number of a party. If take for example, if any party, take for example party A. So if a party A was divided into two parties, okay, if party A was divided into two parties, then the election commission will identify which one is the original faction. So the party A was divided into two factions and there is a dispute between these two factions. Then the election commission will decide which one is the original faction, which has a large number of members, which has a large number of followers, and it will allocate the symbol to such a original faction of a party A. So the disputes between the parties or dispute between a same party, dispute between the factions of a same party and allocation of a symbol to the original faction of a party will be decided by the election commission. So the take for example, if a party was divided into two faction 1 and faction 2, so the election commission will identify which is the original faction and will allocate the symbol of a party A to such a faction. Take for example, if it identify faction 1 as a original faction, then it will allocate the election symbol to such a original faction. So it was decided based on a different factors like number of followers, like that, etc. So during president rule, what happens during the president rule is that after the completion of a 1 year of a president rule in a particular state, the election commission will submit a remote will submit a report. Either it is a suitable situation to conduct a election, or it cannot able to conduct a election on a particular situation. So such a report will be submitted by the election commission during a president rule, and it will be decided if there is a if the election can be conducted or not, will be decided based upon the report that was submitted by the election commission. So these are all the advisory and quasi judicial function and administrative powers of a election commission of India. Thank you.